Okay, so coming to a nice tall seat, go ahead and scoot forward in your chair a little bit. Find your sit bones. You might just rock back and forth a little bit. Notice that play that happens as you do that, rocking from side to side. And then start to make that a little bit smaller until you've really found the center of those sit bones. So you're rooting down. And then just do a little peek at your feet. So position yourself so that you have your ankles underneath your knees. You might have to make some little adjustments there. And then let's just bring our hands to our thighs. And then allow your eyelids to close here if they're not already. Take a deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth. Sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. Again, smooth, full, deep inhale. Open your mouth. Sigh the breath out. Ha. Deep inhale. One more time, sigh the breath out. Ha. Notice if your shoulders are creeping up towards your ears, see if you can soften them down. And then start to inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. Right away, just trying to bring your attention to that breath. Some days it's easier than others. Some days there's things happening in the space that we're in. So we start to attach to those outward sounds that are happening. So you focus on your breath, maybe some of that drifts into the background. So it's more like quite static. Maybe the thoughts start to kick up, which is going to happen. But when you become aware of the fact that you have attached to something going on in the mind, again, just smile to yourself, let it go. Return to that sound of your breath. Even return to the sensation of the breath and how it feels as you're inhaling. How it feels as you're exhaling, everything contracts inward. Just soaking up these initial moments. Maybe you start to relax a little bit as you find yourself in this space. So we're all really busy. We've always got a lot going on, a lot of things that we're trying to do and accomplish. So it's really nice to just take a little bit of time to let all of that go, a little check-in, kind of tune everything out for a little bit. Start to get in touch with the breath, start to get in touch with sensations happening in the body. As we're here, just another moment or two, maybe set an intention for your practice. So maybe some thought, idea, feeling, word will pop into your mind. Just be with that. And then from here, gently blink your eyes open. Let's start to roll the shoulders back. And then we're going to roll them forward. You're just observing if there's tension in your neck and shoulders. There usually is all at all. You might even be sore. So just observing what's going on in your body today, specifically the upper body. Let's roll the shoulders back again. And then just allowing them to release down your back. Release your arms by your sides. There's a little gentle external rotation at the shoulders. So your palms are facing forward. There's this openness across your heart and chest. You're sitting nice and tall again. You're rooting into your sit bones, into your feet. And then let's just start to do a little side to side stretching here. So as you inhale, lean off to the right, left arm comes up and over. Exhale, release that arm down. And inhale, we lean to the left, right arm comes up and over. And exhale, release. So it's like you're a newly budded out tree, a spring breeze here. You're just flowing with your breath, finding a little space. And then you're just also letting this feel really good. It's always nice to move with the breath, find space and grace in the body. And you are paying attention to how things are feeling. Where do you get sensation? Where are there places that you're feeling tight in your body? You might even close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. So sometimes that can challenge the balance a little bit. So be careful. And sometimes closing the eyes helps me to tune into the breath a little more and see if that's true for you. Good work. So the next time you're leaning off to the right, let's hang out there. Try to feel both shoulder blades releasing down your back. And in fact, let's spin that left palm to face behind us. So it's like you're wrapping that outer arm in. And then bend the elbow. And you might feel a little more stretch on the outseam of the arm. Keep that breath moving, that inhale through your nose, that exhale through your nose. Good. Inhale, extend that left arm again. Nice work. As you exhale, release that arm down, and then inhale. Right arm reaches up and over. Shoulder blades squeeze in towards each other. Even in this position, they release towards your sit bones. Spin your right palm to face behind you. And then again, bend the elbow. And that might be really, really challenging. So you can always skip it if it's not working for you today. Maybe see if you can lean that elbow back a little bit. Keep rooting into that right sit bone even as you lean off to the left. Good. Inhale. Reach that right arm straight. And then exhale. Come back to your mountain pose, so your nice tall seat. And let's bring our hands to our thighs and start to move into our cat-cow. So inhaling, you rock forward on your sit bones. As you exhale, you rock to the backs of your sit bones. You drop your chin towards your chest. And then you just continue like this. And again, your eyes might be open. That's where you're at today. You're keeping your gaze soft and gentle. Maybe you're closing your eyes, so again, getting a little internal. Perhaps that helps you to focus on the sensations in your body. Perhaps that helps you focus on the breath. So getting into flexion and extension in the spine. So such a beautiful, easy way to warm up the spine. This is a good one to do when you think about it at home. Doesn't even have to be a full yoga session. Good. As we continue here, if you'd like to start to add arms, spread those in, you're welcome to. So reaching one arm forward and up any amount, and then release down as you round into that cat shape. Sending an arm into the cow shape. And then finding this idea of flow, of vinyasa, connecting movement with breath in a very specific way. You can continue like this, alternating arms. If you'd like to, play with reaching both arms forward and see what that's like. Good. So if you're alternating arms, just finish up on that left side. You're doing both. Do one or two more. And then just come back to a nice, tall mountain pose, Tadasana. And then let's start small today with our little Sufi rolls. Kind of keeping everything really contained. Observing what that feels like. And then you're going to very gently start to make these circles a little bigger in all directions. You might start to get the shoulders, the head, the neck involved. And then again, let's keep going in this direction, but let's rein it in. And then switch direction. So that same thing, starting small. And for me with the small, I can really feel that play on both sit bones happening. And then you can start to make the movement a little bigger. And you're just noticing where you feel this in your body. I get a lot in the lumbar, lower back. And you can also be feeling this in the neck and the shoulders. And then let's start to make the movement a little smaller. Good. And then just coming back to that nice tall seat. Let's refresh the posture here. So again, just peek down. Notice if you need to adjust your feet. So we're again landing with our knees over our ankles. Legs are about hips distance apart. You're rooting into those sit bones. The shoulders are stacking over your sit bones. All right, so let's come into a crescent pose. We'll do a little arm and shoulder work with that, and then we'll take it into a forward fold. So a bit of a hamstring stretch. So if you do have blocks handy or a table in front of you, a desk, a chair, you can set those up. So you can kind of set them up forward of your feet if you do have them. And if you don't worry about it. You can always modify it without. We are going to take this right leg and extend it to straight. And so we still got both sit bones pressing, but it's going to feel a little different. So notice, observe that in your body. And then let's release our arms by our sides. So we're feeling that openness across our heart and chest, that lift of the sternum. Shoulder blades release towards your sit bones. All of these little subtle actions happening in these poses. Then a few times, inhale, take the arms out and up. You can also take them forward and up if that feels better in your shoulder girdle, or if it's better in the space that you're practicing in. As you exhale, palms come to heart center. Just a few times like that. Inhale, take up lots of space. Good, exhale, bring it down the midline. And then inhale, so we're kind of getting internal and external rotation at that shoulder socket, which can feel really good. Let's do 2 more of these. Maybe you start to gaze up as your palms reach up overhead, if that feels okay. All right, so let's do one final one here, reaching up, and we're going to hold. Good, and then feel those sit bones ground, but maybe start to bring your gaze up any amount. Shrug the shoulder blades down. And then spin your palms to face forward. As you exhale, bend your elbows, and then you're leaning them back a little bit. So you really open across your heart. My shoulders were creeping into my ears, so I'm working actively to shrug them down. Take a deep inhale here, and then imagine that you're like in, I don't know, a pool of honey or something thick and viscous. And as you exhale, slowly engage the muscles. So just coming into a little press here. Inhale, open up, and just give yourself a little resistance. So imagine that you're, working through thick mud. Opening up on the inhale. Let's do one more. Exhale, press in. Good. Inhale, open up. And then let's again just stretch the arms up, maybe press palms, gaze up. And then we're going to make our way into our forward fold. So a couple ways to get there. You could swan dive in, start to hinge forward. Maybe you take your hands to your legs and fold in any amount. So if you have a table in front of you, you could reach your hands forward. Maybe you have blocks and you can kind of adjust them. So we're all going to go to different positions. You might be pretty high up. That's absolutely okay. With this right leg extended straight, we're starting to get into that hamstring. You might be feeling this in the lower back. Check in with your breath again. So we have that nice inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. Both hips facing forward, so we're in this neutral position. Got a couple more breaths here. So again, you have options coming out of this. If you want to get into the core a little bit, if you're feeling strong and steady, engage your lower belly, maybe take the arms out wide, reach up. Or again, you can kind of just use your hands to help crawl yourself up. Beautiful. Arms reach up overhead. Full expression of our crescent pose. And exhale, hands come to our heart center. Nice work. So let's switch sides here. Can rebend that right knee. And then we take this left leg to straight. So legs about hips distance apart. Make any little adjustments that if you need to. I have to remember not to wear dark yoga pants because they don't show up very well against the cabinet. Note to self. You would think I'd have this after, 3.5 years of Zoom, but alas, no. All right. So rooting into your sit bones, both hip bones are facing forward. Release your arms by your sides. Keep all of this length through the sides of your waist. Inhale, arms reach out and up or forward and up. In fact, let's do that this time. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Release down. Let's stretch forward and up just to mix it up. Exhale. And then inhale. And just both ways, get into the shoulders a little differently. Exhale. Good, a couple more. Inhaling, reaching. Maybe you're starting to bring your gaze up. Exhale. Final one here. Inhale, stretching arms forward. And then just for a moment, imagine that somebody is holding your wrist, gently tractioning you up towards the ceiling, even as your shoulder blades release down. Breath smooth and steady. Maybe you begin to bring your gaze up. You might even press palms together, and you take breaks whenever you need to. You skip poses whenever you need to. Good. Spin your palms to face forward. As we exhale, we bend those elbows again. Maybe we're feeling a little more open. Maybe we're not. That's both are okay. As you exhale, again, this is actually really hard. I apologize. Just got a few here, and you skip them if you need to. Just moving with the breath. Really engaging the muscles in our arms, which kind of warming that up for the downward dogs that we're going to do in a little bit here. Good job. Let's inhale. Open up. Let's exhale. Take the arms out wide. Spin the palms up towards the ceiling. And then inhale. Reach them up overhead. Beautiful. Maybe gaze up. Maybe press palms. And then again, as you exhale, we come into that forward fold. So how do you want to get there? You can reverse swan dive in if you feel safe and stable. Maybe you walk your hands down, and then hands on something is really nice. Of course, if you're a little more flexible, if you've got long arms, your fingertips might actually come to the floor as well. So lots of places that you can be. And as always, remember, side to side, things can feel quite a bit different. So we allow for that. We don't get too attached to this idea of poses needing to look a certain way. More important that they feel a certain way, that they serve us, they help us to build strength and flexibility. And maybe most importantly, just awareness about our bodies and what's going on. It's actually a really, really useful skill to have. Do a little check-in with your breath again. See what's going on there. Have you lost that thread of your breath? Has it gotten a little shallow? Maybe recommit to that ujjayi again, or at very least to really nice, deep, full, complete inhales and exhales.
We got a few more breaths here. Let's really marinate in this pose. Beautiful work. So we're going to inhale into the full expression of our crescent pose. However you want to get there. You can reverse swan dive out. Maybe you use your hands to help upright yourself. Take up space. Reach up. Maybe gaze up. Maybe press palms. And as you exhale, hands come to heart center. Really nice work. Let's go ahead and rebend this left knee. So we find our mountain pose again and make any little adjustments that you need to. And let's get into the neck and shoulders a little more. That always feels good, especially after doing this crescent pose and all of that shoulder work. There might be a little more tension there. So before we focus on the neck specifically, again, just give the shoulders a little roll out. Be feeling a little heat inside of them. Roll forward. I don't know if you all can hear. It's like Thursday afternoon has become lawn mowing day here at the condos in Brighton. Hopefully the mic isn't picking up that sound. Don't they know we have yoga? All right, so hands return to your thighs. As you exhale, just drop your chin towards your chest. Tiny movement is one of those little movements that packs such a punch, though. It's always, I find the first one, intense. It's hard to let go. Those muscles really want to work to keep the head upright. It might be useful for you to visualize your exhale going to the back of your neck, just creating some space, teasing out any tangles. Couple more breaths here. Check in with your shoulders. Really try to soften them down. As you inhale, chin comes parallel to the floor. Exhale, right ear to right shoulder. It might not go very far. I'm feeling a little stuck today. Keep that breath moving. Back out a little bit if you need to. Some days we need a little less. Sometimes too, if we can just back out a little bit as we hold the pose, as we breathe into the pose, then we start to find a little more space. So allow for that to happen. Be open to that. So keep this right ear towards your right shoulder, but start to tuck the chin a little bit. It's going to shift where you're getting sensation on the top of your shoulder, the back of your neck. If this is feeling good, if you're getting enough, this is right where you need to be, so stay here. Maybe if you'd like, release your left fingertips towards the floor. You can always try out different variations and see how it feels, and then you can always decide not to do them. Maybe start to lift that arm a little bit. Ooh. Good. Deep inhale. Exhale. Just release that left arm down, and you can bring your hand back to your thigh. Let's all take our right hand to our cheek. Just use the strength of your arm to help upright your head. And then drop your chin towards your chest. Got a little tickle in my throat. I'm going to take a sip of water here. So as you come into this variation the second time, how is it feeling a little different? Might be subtle, might still be feeling tight. You might be finding more space. What are the shoulders doing? Are they trying to assist? Gently encourage them not to. Good. As you inhale, chin comes parallel to the floor. Exhale, left ear towards the left shoulder. Ooh, what's going on in this side? And we're always remembering every time we come to our yoga practice, even though we do these poses, we've done them 1,000 times, they always feel a little different. There's always different things going on any given day. That's okay. Some days we need to do a little less. Some days we feel like we want to do a little more. It's really important to recognize that and honor that. Okay, so you're going to keep your left ear towards your left shoulder, but start to tuck your chin. You're noticing how that feels. You're noticing how sensation shifts. Jim, do you have a question? Can you unmute yourself? Is everything okay, or do you have a question? Everybody else is breathing into the next stretch.
Yeah. It's raining and hailing here, so we're having a hard time hearing you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, but everything is okay.
Everything else is fine. Yeah. You can go ahead and mute us again. Okay.
Just making sure.
Yep.
That Colorado weather's time of year. All right, so maybe release your right fingertips down. It's blue skies and perfectly sunny just a little bit north of you. We'll see if the storm comes my way. And then maybe you start to lift that right arm up. Oof. Couple more breaths. So as you exhale, release that right hand down. If you took that variation, hand comes to your thigh. We all take our left palm to our cheek to help upright the head. Good. And then one more time for good measure, just drop your chin towards your chest. Notice how it's feeling. Good. And then as you inhale, lift your chin. So let's move into a few rounds of our downward facing dog. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my chair around. So you could do this against a wall in front of you. Having a second chair is good. You could use a desk or a table in front of you. So a lot of options. If you're using a chair, you could have the seat facing towards you, or you could have the chair part. I can't think of what that would be called right now. The back of the chair towards you, so it gives you a little height, so you can have some options. Just make sure that you're in a place where that forward chair won't slide if you're on a hardwood surface. So let's make sure that, nice and safe. Same setup. We're basically coming into our Tadasana, our mountain pose. So rooting into your sit bones, shoulders are landing over your sit bones. And then you might have to reposition the chair a little bit so you can kind of fold forward, bringing the heels of the hands either to the top of the chair or the seat of the chair. Starting out, maybe going a little higher might feel good. And then let's come back. Let's release our arms by our sides. Inhale, arms reach out and up. Spin your palms to face forward. Spread your fingers. Good. And then keep that as you start to hinge forward. And then hands are going to release to that surface in front of you. Keep spreading the fingers. And if you are on a table or a desk, that can be nice because you actually have that floor underneath you. Whereas with a chair, you're imagining a little bit unless you're pressing into the seat. And then maybe that chair needs to slide forward a little bit. And then you're just lining up your ears with your biceps. So that inner arm, just gazing an inch or two in front of your toes. So the back of the neck is nice and long. As you firm down into your hands, can you start to really engage the muscles in your arms? So is that feeling that we had when we were doing those chest presses? Really active here. And then as you press in your hands, can you also press back into your sit bones? So that helps you to find some length through the sides of your waist. And then let's just take a few nice quiet breaths here. Good. As you inhale, start to lift up and then take one hand to your thigh, then another. Press down to roll up. And then you can just keep your gaze soft and gentle in front of you. Notice how you're feeling. So these downward dogs, they're a type of an inversion. They're a little bit of a forward fold, so you might get a little head rush coming out. So let's do a version of this, and we're gonna come into a twist. So let's start the same setup. So releasing your arms by your sides. Inhale, take the arms out and up. And then spin your palms to face forward. So before we even hinge forward at the waist, we're finding downward dog in our upper body, particularly arms. So they're super active. We start to hinge forward. And then this time, go ahead and just gaze forward towards your fingertips. So your neck might be lifted a little bit. I want you to take your right hand and bring it to the left a little bit. So you're centering it a little bit more. Good. Root down there. Let's take our left hand to our left hip. All right, deep inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, start to wrap your right ribs to the left. Go easy if you've just had lunch. I'm looking at you, Scott. See if you can press this left shoulder head back a little bit. So this is like a kind of like a twisting dog here. Depending upon what's happening in your body, you stay like this, but maybe you explore reaching that left arm back. You might just be looking up over that left shoulder, giving everything a little ring out here. Good work. One more deep inhale. So to exit this, let's just take our hand back to our hip. If you took that variation, deep inhale. Exhale, unwind. So take those hands apart again. Just find your classic dog for a moment. And then we come into our second side. So you're going to bring this left hand off to the right a little bit. So it's kind of like lining up with your nose. Right hand is going to come to your right hip. Squeeze that elbow in. So you're already starting to find a little twist in the upper spine. Deep inhale, lengthen. And then exhale. Oh, these left ribs wrap to the right. So kind of a little very different variation of the twisting that we often do. So notice how it feels for you. I'm finding this to be quite intense, actually, which is okay. If this is enough, you stay here like this. If you'd like a little more, maybe just extend those right fingertips back. So palm will just face towards the wall that you're facing. And then check in with your breath. So in twists, particularly if they're a little deeper, it's a little hard to inhale. We can't fill up as much as we might be able to otherwise. So notice if that's happening for you. See if you can get a little more air into your lungs. We're gonna bend that right elbow. Again, if you took that variation, deep inhale. Exhale, unwind, and then extend that right hand forward, and then go ahead and bring your ears in line with your biceps again. And maybe after that twisting, it feels like you've got a little longer in your spine. You grew a centimeter more. All right, so start to bring your gaze forward, one hand to your thighs, then the other. Press into your legs. Come on up, nice work. Okay, so we're gonna move into a little breath work here. We haven't done kind of like our wave breath in a while, so let's play with that. So as you'll recall, we're gonna kind of breathe up in sections. So you're gonna start sipping in a little air, you'll exhale. The next breath, you're gonna sip in a little more, you'll exhale. We're gonna do about 4 or 5 cycles. I'm gonna let you play with what feels good to you today, but I want you to think of this as sets of ocean waves. So kind of all roll in together, but the first one coming in is smaller, and then the ones behind it, they get increasingly bigger until the next set rolls through. So that's what we're gonna play with. So we'll do this first round together. And then I'm going to give you an opportunity to do a couple other rounds on your own and see how that feels. So just find a nice comfortable seat. Hands can be resting by your thigh, on your thighs. They could also be by your side if that feels good. Allow your eyelids to close. Smooth, deep inhale through your nose. Exhale through your nose. And you might even just imagine that you're sitting on a beach chair. Inhale, sip in a little air. Exhale through your nose. Inhale, sip in a little more air. Let it go through your nose. Inhale a little more still. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And then for your biggest, fullest, most complete breath yet. And let it go through the nose. And then just take a couple rounds of normal breath, easy breath, not trying to make anything happen. So you're gonna move into a couple of cycles of that on your own. If that 5 parts worked good for you, you could stick with that. Maybe you'd rather do 4. Maybe you'd rather do 6. Maybe you want to play around a little bit. So feel free to explore, but as you're ready, move into a couple more rounds here. Between each one, just take a few recovery breaths. So finish up the round you're on. If you want to do another cycle, you're welcome to do that as well. But we're going to move towards a final resting pose here. So some form of Shavasana. As always, you can do classic Shavasana laying down. You might just stay exactly where you're at. So in many ways, Shavasana is more of a state of mind. We're surrendering. We're, as much as possible, just trying to completely relax here as we give our bodies and brains the opportunity to assimilate this work that we've been doing together. And just find a place where you can happily be these final quiet moments of class. Let go of the idea of having to control your breath. Let go of the idea of having to work, of having to do anything. Just dip into a sweet space, a sweet, quiet space. Soak up these final moments. Shavasana. Asato ma satgamaya. Tamaso ma joy gamaya. Mrityo ma mritam gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Take a deeper inhale. And open your mouth, sigh the breath out, ha. And start to bring your awareness back to your body. Start to bring a little gentle movement back to your body. So wiggle fingers, toes, circle ankles, wrists. Stretch out. Just any movement that feels good here. And you'll eventually just land with your palms in a pile on top of your heart. Send yourself love and gratitude. Send your body love and gratitude. We send each other love and gratitude. It's a gift to be able to work and move like this. It's not always easy, but it does make a difference. So soak up all of this good feeling you've created, all of this good work you've done. Promise yourself you're going to carry this with you into the rest of the day, the rest of the week, holiday weekends ahead. Finally, just bow your head with a smile. Terrific work today. Thank you, yogis.